I've spent several net weeks of my life in AMS2, and I've made a few dozen videos about it. As a sim racer with a focus on authentic, immersive single-player experiences, AMS2 gives me a lot. Aside from countless single races, I've completed several custom championships that, for me, are second to none thanks to custom AI and original liveries. Almost 2 years after release, I know practically the entire car catalog, and like any virtual Michael Schumacher or Kevin Estre, I have my likes and dislikes. Nevertheless, I claim that the cars presented here will pick up every real sim racer. So, if you're thinking about buying AMS2, firing it up again, or just want to get inspired or stoked, here's my top 3 cars I could virtually drive every day in AMS2.
Early 90s DTM always delivers in every sim. They're nimble, they're agile, they're the epitome of agility. Just 1 ton of living weight, 300 somewhat HP, and so great and lively.
We are, of course, talking about the BMW E30 M3, one of my automotive wet teenage dreams. The top model in the 3 Series stood out with its flared fenders, special transmission, and, of course, engine and performance. As BMW's automotive jack of all trades, it was present practically everywhere. In the private tuning scene, among drifters, even in rallying, but above all, in touring car racing, where it was used extremely successfully from the mid-1980s to the mid-1990s. For me, it is the epitome of the classic DTM. The duels with the Merc 190e and later the Audi V8 are legendary. The implementation of the Group A M3 in AMS2 leaves hardly anything to be desired. Visual, sound, physics, all top-notch. The power-to-weight ratio of this car is near perfect. If the Audi was a rhino and the Merc a lion, then the Bimmer would be a panther. Powerful but extremely agile, bitchy but always tameable at the limit.
Well done, Timo. Good start.
For me, as someone who likes his sim racing authentic and immersive, the M3 is a blessing. 5-speed manual, no ABS, no traction control, but modern enough to not make me feel like I'm just a passenger in a suicide vehicle. For me, a sweet spot between drivability and challenge. And in combination with custom AI and original liveries, I feel directly teleported back to the golden age of touring cars.
What do you like as a sim racer or as a real driver? You want cars you can trust in. You want to feel confident when driving. And this is what this car actually conveys and transmits and gives you. Oh, what a great drift! Woo! This is awesome! It's now much more difficult to spin, actually. Ah, yeah. Just the right amount of sideways to make the corner. Well, my bold statement is, if you get the German Group A, the DTM, right in your game, your sim cannot be shit.
My tip? Try out the M3 on an original DTM track like the Nürburgring or Hockenheimring. Or travel to Brazil, to Salvador, a street circuit that feels like, say, the Nürburgring, but only in longer and cooler. Great racing, unlimited fun.
This car, Benetton 1991, completely different animal. This thing means you have to work from 6th to 2nd in a second. Don't have time for heel and toe. I gotta say, I really cherish the sound. This is so immersive. Oh, well, come on. Woo!
This video is already 1.5 years old, but it has not aged a single day for me. Everything I say there, I would still sign today. The F Classic Gen 3, aka 1991 Formula 1, is my favorite Formula series in AMS2, and the Model 3 is my favorite car. It is the vehicle I spent the most time with in AMS2 and cannot but return to it again and again. Naturally aspired V8, just under 700 HP, 6-speed manual, no other driving aids whatsoever. Over 30 gear changes per lap in Monaco, half of them in corners, where you consequently only hold the steering wheel with one hand. Anyone who drives this thing authentically and is fast at the same time can be proud of themselves. Well, at least a little bit. In the 90s, Formula 1 was still diverse. Different chassis and engine concepts, as well as different tire manufacturers, guaranteed varied races and whole seasons. The cars were on the brink of modernity. Some already had semi-automatic transmissions, for instance. Overall, however, they were still analog enough to be considered a driving challenge. And, as a matter of fact, there were technical and mechanical failures. Thanks to custom AI and original skins, both authentic individual races and entire championships against Senna, Mansell, Prost, or McLaren, Williams, and Ferrari are possible. 30 years after Geoff Cremant and Compris, the virtual Formula 1 of the early 90s is back with the vengeance, and probably nowhere better than in AMS2. And if we now also get the vehicle reliability value properly working, we will be close to perfection. I love the classic cars of the 80s and 90s, but that doesn't mean I can't appreciate modern cars as well. That is, as long as they have their own character and are captivating to drive. Modern, special, unique are attributes that apply to the Porsche 911 RSR GT-E. E stands for endurance. These cars have a few more horsepower than their GT3 brethren and do without ABS, which increases the driving experience by what feels like 200%.
This thing gets you at the limit.
2 Celsius.
About 10 minutes. In this car, it clicked immediately. This is one of the best things you can have.
Maybe it's heavy 6-cylinder boxer in the rear that pushes the rear axle onto the road. Maybe it's special braking behavior. Maybe it's agile cornering and the feeling of always being fast on the road. Maybe it's simply the 0.911% more character that the Porsche RSR GTE has over its class rivals. I don't know. All I know is that in the 911 RSR GTE, an uncomparable driving experience merges with a unique myth, and that you are missing out on something great if you leave out this virtual fun vehicle. I at least cannot get enough of this car. So these are my 3 cars that will make you fall in love with Automobilista 2, perhaps again in 2022. What do you think? Tell me what your favorites are in AMS2. What cars make you come back to the sim again and again? Tell me in the comments. I know there are a lot more great cars in there, which for this list I had to leave out because it's only the top 3. And don't forget, if you feel like it, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and ring that notification bell. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Happy racing, have a good time. See you on the next one. Bye.